You know how sometimes a single picture on the internet can just blow up? Well, back in 2013, that's exactly what happened. An image, uploaded from the small nation of Brunei, showed a creature that looked like it crawled out of a sci-fi movie. It was alien, monstrous, and for a moment, seemed terrifyingly real. The world collectively held its breath. Scientists, cryptozoologists, and internet detectives all dropped what they were doing to answer one question: what is this thing? It had the armored plates of an insect, a tail like a crustacean, and a generally nightmarish vibe. This wasn't some blurry photo of a shape in the woods. This was a high-resolution shot of an actual specimen sitting in a bucket, looking like it had just been pulled from the water. The hunt for the Beast of Brunei was on. It was a search that would lead people down a rabbit hole of wild biological theories, ancient fossils, and finally, to a twist that nobody saw coming. The story of the Beast of Brunei isn't just about some weird creature. It's about our love for a good mystery, and how easily we can all get swept up in one. It all started on the 11th of December 2013. A user named Hazwan posted a pretty startling photograph to Project Noah, a website where people share and identify wildlife. The post claimed an unidentified aquatic invertebrate had been found near Bandar Seri Begawan, the capital of Brunei. The coordinates provided, latitude 4.97 and longitude 114.9, placed the discovery in a real, verifiable location, which gave the whole thing an immediate dose of credibility. The creature in the picture was unlike anything most people had ever laid eyes on. Floating in a white bucket filled with murky yellowish water, its anatomy was just bewildering. The body was segmented and covered in hard overlapping plates, giving it an armored, prehistoric look. You couldn't really make out a head, but its back end split into two sharp, pincer-like prongs. It looked aggressive, dangerous, and completely alien. So, of course, the internet did what the internet does. It lost its collective mind. The image shot across social media, forums, and news sites, and with every share, the legend of the Beast of Brunei grew. Cryptozoology forums especially lit up. For them, this wasn't just another cryptid, one of those animals whose existence is unproven. This wasn't a shadowy figure or a fleeting glimpse in a lake. This was a high-res shot of a tangible specimen. For a community used to working with grainy videos and old stories, this was like striking gold. Posting it on Project Noah was the perfect launchpad. The site's scientific mission made the sighting feel legitimate. It wasn't some random post on a conspiracy blog. It was a submission to a citizen science project, seemingly made by someone genuinely looking for answers. This context was key. It pulled in not just amateur monster hunters, but also biologists and entomologists who were fascinated by the creature's strange features. The picture was clear. The location was specific, and the mystery was irresistible. The world was watching, waiting for an expert to step in and give this thing a name. But as the analysis started, it became clear this wasn't going to be easy. The Beast of Brunei didn't fit anywhere, and the search for an answer was about to get a whole lot weirder. With the photograph of the Beast of Brunei going viral, scientists and cryptozoologists began a frantic race to classify the unclassifiable. The creature's bizarre mix of features made it one heck of a puzzle. Every expert and armchair analyst had a different theory, each one more speculative than the last. The first, most obvious guesses pointed toward known, if unusual, arthropods. One early idea was that it was some kind of crustacean. After all, that pincer-like tail looked a bit like the tail of a shrimp or lobster. But that theory didn't hold water for long. The creature was missing the right number of legs. It didn't have antennae, and its body wasn't divided into the cephalothorax and abdomen typical of most crustaceans. It just didn't fit. Next up was the insect hypothesis. Some people suggested it might be a weird type of trilobite beetle from the family Lycidae. The females of one genus, Duliticola, found in Borneo, are famous for keeping their larval, armored appearance as adults, and they can get pretty big, up to 6 centimeters long. This sounded promising, but when you looked closer, the details didn't match. The Beast of Brunei's body was too long and slender, and that freaky forked tail didn't look like the appendages of any known trilobite beetle. The resemblance was there, but it was only skin deep. While mainstream science was stumped, the world of cryptozoology let its imagination run wild. This is where things got really interesting. The most sensational theory? That this creature was a living, breathing anomalocaris. Anomalocarids were apex predators of the Cambrian period, swimming the oceans over 500 million years ago. These things were top of the food chain monsters. Now, was the thing in the bucket one of them? It was a huge stretch, but who cares? The idea of a living fossil from the dawn of time being scooped out of a river was just too cool. Other theories flew around. Maybe it was a horribly mutated crayfish, its body twisted by pollution. Or perhaps it was a species that lived deep underground, flushed out by heavy rains. Each new idea was fueled by the quality of the photo. It was so clear, you couldn't just write it off as a trick of the light or a weirdly shaped rock. This thing was real, and you could see every bizarre detail, but no matter how hard anyone looked, no one could come up with a definitive ID. The creature was a biological question mark, and the lack of an official answer just made the mystery deeper. Before we get to the shocking truth behind the Beast of Brunei, if you're fascinated by the world's greatest mysteries and the line between fact and fiction, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We dive into stories like this every week, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Just as the global debate over the Beast of Brunei hit its peak, the whole thing came crashing down. The intense scrutiny had made one thing clear: no expert could identify this animal. But the big reveal wasn't some incredible new species or a real-life monster. The truth was a lot simpler and honestly, just as fascinating. The Beast of Brunei was a total fake. The confession didn't come from Hazwan, the guy who posted it on Project Noah. Instead, the creator himself came forward. A Swedish filmmaker named Stefan Reidehed admitted that he had built the creature as a prop. The whole story about it being discovered in a river in Brunei was completely made up for fun. The beast that had stumped scientists and sparked a worldwide frenzy was just a clever piece of art. This news sent a different kind of shockwave through the internet. For the cryptozoologists who had dared to hope this was the real deal, it was a huge letdown. They had poured time and energy into analyzing the photo, and the confession felt like a bit of a betrayal. A common feeling was, better to know the truth than remain in the limbo of ignorance. But you could feel the frustration. For skeptics and many scientists, the ending wasn't exactly a surprise. The history of monster hunting is filled with hoaxes, from the famous fake photo of the Loch Ness Monster to the staged discovery of an unknown ape. These stories often follow the same script. Compelling but limited evidence pops up, captures the public's imagination, and is eventually exposed as a fake. The Beast of Brunei was just the latest great hoax, perfectly packaged for the internet era. The confession instantly changed the story. The Beast of Brunei was no longer a biological puzzle, it was a case study in how modern myths are made. The question switched from, what is it, to, how did it fool so many people? The answer was a perfect storm. A high-quality photo, a believable backstory, and a scientific platform that made it seem credible. The creator hadn't just made a monster. He'd built a narrative that played perfectly into the hopes and curiosities of the online world. The beast was fake, but the phenomenon it created was very real. It showed just how belief works in the 21st century, and was a powerful reminder that seeing isn't always believing. So, what's the takeaway from the Beast of Brunei? It's more than just a funny story about a fake monster. It's a perfect example of how folklore is born and spreads in our hyper-connected world. For a little while, a well-made model and a good story managed to blur the line between fact and fiction, sparking genuine scientific debate and getting everyone excited. In the end, the beast was confirmed to be a handmade prop created for entertainment. The creator's admission put the mystery to rest, but it also taught us a lot about modern myth-making. The whole affair highlights how important it is to be skeptical, especially when you see extraordinary claims online, and to always push for physical proof. While this hoax was pretty harmless, it points to a bigger trend of how fast unverified information can spread. The Beast of Brunei now has its place in the Hall of Fame of famous hoaxes, right next to all the others. It's a testament to our endless fascination with the unknown and our willingness to believe a good story. And it's a great reminder that sometimes the most interesting monsters aren't the ones hiding in the water, but the ones we create ourselves.